Hi and welcome everyone. Welcome back to the Business Motivator YouTube channel. And this is yet another episode of the Move for Your Mondays podcast. Yes, it's been a while, but life happens and we just have to work with whatever we can. All right. So for this episode, we're going to be talking about a very important topic. We're going to be talking about prioritizing the priorities. And in this day and age, in the world of business, you have to really evaluate what is more important and what is not so important. So, with me, of course, is Monifia Mo Maitland, and she has a few things to say. Go ahead.
Hey guys, yeah, welcome. Thanks, Matthew. Thanks you. Yeah, we got a lot of catching up to do since the last episode. I know we talked a lot about the main topic was about um procrastination and how to be productive even in the face of needing to procrastinate a little bit. So it's kind of maintaining that same course of talking about, how to kind of like keep that feeling away but still be productive in your business venture, in switching careers, whatever you're doing or wherever you are right now in life as a business owner, entrepreneur. Priorities is thinking about your priorities and managing your priorities is one of the top things that you should make your priorities in business. So this episode was gonna be called "Let's Get OCD," but I changed it around like OCD meaning like get organized. Um, but how to prioritize the priorities, right? This is just going to be more conversational. I know it's been the previous videos have been more instructional, but I want it to be a conversation. So, if you feel like you need to pause the video at any point and just kind of reflect on how you do things, how you manage your time, how you figure things out, how you prioritize your priorities, then feel free to do so and just kind of, work it in however you can. I want to start off with just having a conversation about why prioritize. Why should you prioritize just as a regular person, as an individual, but why should you prioritize as a business owner or entrepreneur? Seeking all these different opportunities, making money, etc. Why should you prioritize? Well, one thing I want to just say, like, I created this like easy to remember model, and I'm calling it the three T's. The first T is time. Time is money, right? So that's one incentive to prioritize is, you don't want to be wasting time because in the business world, the more time you probably waste is the more money you are possibly losing. So, and the time and people's time that you're wasting. So time is money. First T. Second T,
All right,
trust.
all
Oh,
right, Monifia. Sorry to cut you, but
yeah.
I have
No,
one,
no, go ahead.
I have one comment to make about the time thing. We have to try to treat time as a commodity. And then once we have that mindset, we will realize how valuable it actually is. There are not many commodities that where you use it, if you use it once, it goes away forever. So if you spend 1 minute on something, that 1 minute of time will never come back, right?
Right.
So the fact that it's so technically rare, we should treat it as such. And so we should
Yeah.
really get into the prioritization because we need to use up time because time is actually more valuable than money. But maybe we can discuss that in more in depth in another video. But yeah, go
It
ahead.
is, it is, but for the purposes of, thinking about somebody in a business mindset, in an entrepreneurial sense, time wasted is gonna be money down the drain. So uh, time can be taken so many different directions, but for this particular incentive or reason factor why you should prioritize is because it can cost you money, and wasting time causes more time to be wasted. So the second T is Trust builds confidence. So why should you prioritize? Is you prioritize so that you can gain the trust of yourself, so you can build that confidence in yourself as an entrepreneur, but building the trust of your clients, your customers, and they themselves and you will have confidence in the work and the products and the performance and all the different pieces you can think about, profits that you put out there and products that you put out there to the market. They can have confidence in that. So that's the second T. The third T is tasks. Task feeds your goals, or should feed your goals. So whatever, however you're prioritizing your tasks, are feeding into your larger goals and ambitions, and those things. And we'll get into the SMART goals in just a minute, but I just wanted to give you guys the three T's of why we should prioritize, especially in a business sense.
All right, so I just have something to add to the last point you made. You said time
Hmm.
should be, tasks should be feeding towards the goals.
Yes.
And I think that ties perfectly with the first point about time, right?
Hmm.
Because, you have to utilize, you have to set aside you know, certain amount of time to do certain tasks. And if the tasks are unproductive, then it's going to lead to wasting of time. So those two are connected. And of course, points similar to this are made in the book. So you guys really need to get it. Yes, Mo, you had something?
Yeah. Great minds think alike. Not true. So yeah, no, I really like that you connected those two, because really and truly they're all interwoven, they're all connected in that way that
Integrated.
if you yeah, yes, that's another word from our previous episode. But yeah, you always want to think about it as an integrated, interconnected thing that will work for you. Time, trust, and what was the last T? Sorry,
Tasks.
guys. Task. All of these things are working together for you. So as an incentive for you to prioritize, like you can look forward to, this is why I need to do this, because this is going to be the positive end result. So as I mentioned earlier, gonna touch on the SMART goals, setting SMART goals. But before I get to the SMART goals, and you might be wondering, what is this? We've talked about it before, but we haven't gone in depth yet. Um, Hold on. So when you're setting priorities, and even in my research, getting ready for this episode today, is a lot of articles will say, oh, you need to make a list, you need to do this, you need to set goals, you need to, but none of that matters until you actually just do it. The the execution part is the most crucial part of it, because if you can make lists from now till Jesus come, but if you're not actually executing, if you're not actually following through with yourself, and the task and the time and the money and all these good things, then you weren't prioritizing. You weren't
Yes, and
prioritizing.
that goes back to being a bad procrastinator. You're not, you know,
Yes, that PEF model, right? Plan, execute, follow up. Yeah, we're just spitting
exactly.
out models. But so I wanted to talk a little bit about how to prioritize, you know, how to set your priorities. And I was gonna have a picture of like Microsoft Teams, like when you go in to do a task, it has you, or any kind of project management software, it'll have you assign your priorities to a specific task or issue or whatever thing, and it will say urgent. Then the next thing would be important. And then the next thing under that would be medium. And then the next under that following medium is low. So you want to get into the mindset of setting your priorities or giving them categorizations so that it's easier for you to know which thing to work on first. Because you can make a list, like I said, you can set the goals, but if you don't know which ones to address first or in a particular order, it can really mess you up. So having priorities set to your priorities, your categorizations of those priorities are super helpful. So for urgent, those are the ones that you want to do now, between now and a few hours, later. Important are the things that you can put off till tomorrow, but definitely setting a deadline for that. Medium is something that you know you can work on it next week, maybe next month, and it'll still be okay. It has very low impact to what you're doing. And then low is anything that can be done after everything else has been sorted out and addressed.
All right, so I do have a point to make about that.
Hmm.
Um, all of what you said was very important and was very informative. Um, and you alluded to this, but just in case the audience might have missed it,
Hmm.
when you have these categories in terms of urgency and importance, remember it has to be with the goal in mind, and the goal has to be very defined and specific. And when you do the research necessary to complete this goal, then it will be easier to see what is urgent.
Yes.
This just a small example. For example, if you have a goal of having a marketing campaign, for example, you're gonna have to do research on, what normally is entailed in a marketing campaign, right?
Hmm.
Then once you do that, you're gonna realize that okay, some more urgent things would be like setting up a proper social media, for example.
Hmm.
All right, and then you work it from there. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you have to know what your clearly defined goal is, and then that's how you're gonna evaluate what is urgent and what is important and etc. So
Yes, exactly. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that's something that this is something that needs to build into the next thing. Remember when I said earlier that tasks feed into your goals? And I know it feels weird that we're talking about goals last, but there's a reason why. Just kind of understanding why and how to do it, making sure that you're making it urgent, important, medium, and low, having that understanding, because these things, they need to feed into each other, right? So as you're doing these tasks, as you're doing these priorities, they're feeding into the next thing. So the urgent thing can help inform the important task or a priority. Then the important priority can feed into the medium, so you're just building onto that going forward. So I'm glad you brought that up. So that's your priority levels. No, let's get to goals.
all
I know
right,
the moment we've all been waiting for. But okay, so we talked about SMART goals before. So SMART is actually a acronym for specific, which is what Matthew was alluding to earlier, being determining, making it specific. M stands for measurable, A stands for achievable or attainable, and then R is for relevant, and T is time based. So here we have time again,
okay,
in this whole prioritization universe. Um, so let's talk a little bit about setting specific goals. Now, why, Matthew, why do you set goals? Talk to me. Talk to the people.
all
Why
right.
do you set
So
goals?
the answer is simple. If you don't set goals, you're not gonna grow. All right. There has to be direction. There has to be direction in your business or life in general.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know how many of you read the Bible, but Bible says a double-minded man is foolish in all his ways. So if you don't have a set path, you're gonna be confused. All right. So
Yeah.
that's why you set goals, so you can be focused
Yes.
on something. And when you
Exactly.
achieve it, that might lead to other goals that you might achieve, and then you go from there.
True that. And that's why you see a lot of times, organizations and companies will have uh, organizational mission statement or
Right.
vision statements. That's really their goal. It might be one sentence, but that's their goal, is to provide quality to our customers or whatever it is. That's the goal, in mind, that company, that organization is consistently driving toward. And it just keeps you in a line, in a set direction, just keeping that momentum. So it's important to have goals, because if you don't have goals, then your priorities will not align. They will be out of whack, and you won't know what to work on. So that's why goals and priorities work hand in hand to make sure that you are successful and that you are performing as optimally as you can as a business owner or a business or anybody. So setting specific goals. This is the who. You have to consider the factors now, the who, what, when, where, how, why, all these different things. Making it as specific as possible. Do you have an example that you can think of? I think you gave an example earlier, but maybe like a who or what example,
All
like a
right. So
specific goal that you've had and you've had to say, okay, this is who or this is what.
all right. So that's a good question. The Okay. So an example from me, or just an example in general, like.
But both, if you want. I'm just curious.
So okay, just a simple one. I wanted to start a podcast. So I had to get, first I have to determine what kind of podcast it was and what I wanted to
Hmm.
achieve. So I wanted to achieve, highlighting businesses and business owners so that other people surrounding me will know what is going on. Oh, this person does this. Wow, that's pretty cool. And
Yeah.
this podcast is for, being informative and, assisting those in, developing and maintaining their business vision. So that was the goal that I had in mind. But then I
Hmm.
had to determine the who. I had to get people on who are business owners, right? It can't be people who, have no experience at all in business, right? It wouldn't
Right.
really make any sense. So, that's just one example in on my end.
Yeah. No, that's a good example. And I think I'm going to carry that through the rest of the acronym. Okay, so that's setting the what, and then identifying the who, or the where and the when. So your goals need to be very specific, calling out those different factors: who, what, where, when, and why. And even and sometimes how, right? So the M now stands for measurable. This is how you'll be able to quantify your goals, or uh, track your progress, just to kind of break it down a little bit more. So it needs to be measurable in the sense that you can track, okay, whether it's I need to do X amount or spend X amount of time. This is how I will ensure that I've met my goal, because I did the 100 hours that I said I was going to put towards this, and here it is, it's complete.
All right. So, another M word that could help people to understand this is
Hmm.
milestone. So,
Ooh, that's a good one.
right. So you can measure your progress by the use of milestones.
Hmm.
So, let's just say you're gonna like say, all right, if I achieve these 10 things, then I will know that, I am on my way
You're
to
good.
success, right?
Yeah, you're set.
Yeah, so I achieve the first five and say, oh, I've reached a milestone. I've done five out of the 10. So once you kind of separate them into segments, it becomes more measurable.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. No, thanks for bringing that out. And so that tees us up to the A, right? Whether it's achievable or attainable, whichever one you're using, it's basically where you can see, achieve or get to that end goal, get to that end thing. And it's achievable or attainable based on your skills available to you. So like you were saying, you couldn't bring anybody onto the podcast. It had to be a certain skill set of people that you had to bring on. And so that's the podcast is successful. It is a successful podcast because because it was attainable because you had the level of skill set and resources available. So I'm glad that you mentioned that earlier. The R for relevant is based on things that are happening in the industry, things that are, market industry, and any kind of trends that are happening there. It needs to be relevant to what you are working on. So we wouldn't have a business podcast and talk about cats and dogs. That's not relevant. We're talking about stats. We're talking about smart goals. We're talking about performance, productivity, entrepreneurialism. We're talking about all these different things because they are relevant to the industry and the market, right? So the goals that you're setting, they need to not be so far out into the cosmos. They need to be right there in your orbit of and your sphere of influence. And then the last one, same how we started is how we're ending, time bound. And it's interesting because this one is not what I was thinking at first, like, oh yeah, you have to be have it done by this date, la 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 la. It's more of creating a sense of urgency to ensure that you meet that goal and you can cross that priority off the list, right? So it's not just like, oh, I need to have this done by tomorrow at 5 p.m. It's I need to have this done tomorrow at 5 p.m. because I could lose a client. I could lose one of my top clients if I don't have this in by 4:59. So there's a sense of urgency there to make sure that you don't forget, you don't push it under the rug, and you can still perform at your highest. So thinking about time bound is, yes, you want to set a timeline, but thinking about it from a sense of urgency standpoint to getting it done.
Okay, that last point was brilliant. Attaching another aspect to it more than just the
Mm-hmm.
time, you know, and especially bringing the client and customer in view of it was a very good way to put it together as well because
Yeah.
when you're doing business, it's not really about you alone. It's about your customers and your
Meeting the
clients.
needs, right?
But here, what now? I have my own set of smart goals.
Go ahead. Lay it on us.
So, I don't know for those who have read Volume One, prioritizing your business vision, you would see that I have my own set of smart goals, which applies to people who are maintaining their business. Because the first smart goal sounds more like for those who are just starting, all right? But this one is more about those who are maintaining. So the S stands for standards, all right? So whatever standards you have for your business, have high standards. I tell people otherwise, just because the business is small doesn't mean that your standards have to be low, all right?
Oh, yes.
M stands for, what did M stand for? It's not measurable. Maintenance. M stands for maintenance. So whatever standards that you had, that you have developed, you have to
Need to
maintain
be
it.
able to maintain it.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. And A
Hmm.
stands for adaptable, right? Your business has to be able to adapt. All right. Because the world shifts and changes so quickly, you have to really watch out because you'll be left behind.
Mm,
R also stands for relevance,
yeah,
and it's linked to being adaptable because that's a whole part of it.
that's true.
At the ensure
Yeah.
you are relevant and up to the times. And T is still for time bound, right? And the time for this is up until you retire. So you have to you have to have the standards, maintain the standards, be adaptable and relevant until you retire. So that's the time bound.
Yeah. No, I really like that. I really like your SMART goals. I think it adds another layer to, the standard, well, the typical SMART goals. It adds another layer underneath that. So I really, or above that. So I really like the standards, the oh my goodness, the maintaining the standards, and then the A,
Being
guys,
adaptable.
adaptability. Guys, it's late. We're recording late, so just bear with us. But it really adds another layer and another perspective to, this prioritization deal that we have to do in business, and how we run our businesses, how we operate even as individuals for our clients and customers. So
All
yeah,
right.
but like I said,
Mm.
I just wanted to bring that out. This is a short one. It's pretty straight to the point, straightforward, cut and paste. So, there's really no if, ands, or buts about it. It's just, you really just have to do it. So I do have a final list of proposed solutions, but I'll let you take 1 minute or so to any thoughts you might have.
Oh, well, I was gonna say the reason why I came up with my own set of SMART goals is because a lot of people hype up the beginning process of a business.
Mm,
Oh, it's great, you started a business, whatever the case may be. But based on my experience and observing things, how people run business,
mm.
I see that a lot of them were just not paying attention enough to maintaining it and keeping those standards and being
Yeah.
adaptable. So I'm like, do they really take this seriously or not? So that's just one of the things that I observed, and I just decided to put it in writing. So I just wanted to put that in there to say, even though that there are certain things or they're out there that seem to be set in stone, there might be hidden meanings behind it, okay? All right, guys, you heard my example. Now, Mo, you said you had one final thing to say.
Yeah, I actually have a couple final things to say. And as I go through the different points, feel free to interject there. But I just want to leave you guys with these couple of notes. As you are prioritizing your business or your education or your career, wherever you are in your business journey, always be thinking about your priorities and um, where you are in that journey and where you need to go next, right? So always be thinking about the next thing. And to leaving you with words of encouragement and wisdom is, the first thing is, and everybody says it, but it is key: make a list. Make a list. It sounds really trivial, just really small, but make a list. It really goes a far way. The next thing is, set your timelines. So we talked about time a lot. Not as much as we could have, but we talked about, several areas where time is important. It's money. It's, setting you up for urgency and setting you up for success. Thinking about your timeline. Um, so set timelines. It's important to be guided by this construct that we all live by called time. So the next thing you can consider is always define your boundaries, because we talk about SMART goals and making sure that they're specific, making sure that they're measurable. Define boundaries, don't go past what you can feasibly do. Don't take too much on. You really want to pace yourself. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So you really have to um, be particular about setting your boundaries and sticking to them.
All right. So just one thing about as well. All right. So what if even if you overachieve, all right? Let's just say you had um a task to do within a 1 month period, and
Hmm.
you realize that you did it in 2 weeks. You should still not do more than you can handle. Maybe you can take a few days out of the third week and just relax and evaluate the situation, and then
Yeah.
you know you can go ahead and make plans for the next task. So don't just, oh yeah, we finish early, so we can just start the next one right away. No, I mean taking a break every now and then is very important.
Yeah. I'm glad that you mentioned that, because you don't want to just take a break and give up too. You want to maintain those standards, right? Did I use that right?
Yes,
Hey,
yes.
yeah, me. Maintaining that momentum that you have, right? Of, I'm going good, but I also need to take a step back and reassess. Not to say that you're just sitting there twiddling your thumbs, for the next 2 weeks, but or killing yourself with work. You could be doing something constructive during that time that's still giving you that rest, but at the same time pacing yourself into what you're trying to achieve. So that all boils down to boundaries and what you allow and what you don't allow. The next thing that I wanted to say is in prioritization is, like I mentioned earlier, is create that sense of urgency. But not only the urgency, but the incentive behind the urgency. You know, I need to get this done by, I need to get this to this person, I need to do whatever, because of that factor, because it's going to create value for my clients, customers. It's going to make my business flourish. It's going to get me viral, on YouTube or social media somewhere, because always thinking about the incentive to creating that sense of urgency. um the next thing is plan. So I think we mentioned this earlier too, but planning is very important to prioritizing, because if you're not planning, you're not making your list, you're not setting timelines. So this all come under the umbrella of planning, and planning accordingly to the priority levels that you've set, whether it's urgent, important, medium, or low. Always plan accordingly. And then the last thing is focus on your goals. Remember, your tasks that you do, your priorities, the things that you put in your list going down the line, they should feed into your overall overarching goals that will help you to maintain that momentum and keep the business going. So, just wanted to leave you there with the words of wisdom.
All right, awesome stuff. And bottom line is, if you don't have proper goals, nothing else makes sense. It's as simple as
Yep.
that. So all these things that we're talking about, these complex things and lists and all of that, and being organized, whatever, it's all about doing all that stuff in order to achieve a goal.
Yes.
So get the goal first. You see, even if you haven't gotten the resources or the time or the skills to achieve the goal yet, at least when you have a goal, you know what you need to do.
Mhm.
All right. It's the fact that you have a goal that makes you realize that, oh, I don't have a certain skill. Oh, I don't have a certain amount of time. So without that goal, you're not going to even know what you even need to do in the first place. So even if you even if you haven't gotten anything else from this podcast, ensure that you have a goal, a vision, prioritize that. And once you do that, you will realize that you're gonna start prioritizing other things too.
Mhm.
And those other things will be the activities, the research, whatever it takes to achieve the goal that you have. All right.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like
So if you have any issues with finding your goal, you can talk to any one of us, of course, and we're free to help you out, man. So
yeah,
we're not gonna bite.
business business and career coaches here to help you, help me, help him, help all of us, in this business world succeed and, be as um, valuable to the business community as we possibly can. So yeah, feel free to reach out. All should should be put in the socials. I don't know.
Yes,
I'm
the
kind of taking a
socials will
hiatus
always
right
be there.
now, but can find me on LinkedIn though. Um, yeah, so and is it also appropriate to do a plug-in about the course? Um,
Oh yeah, sure, sure.
yeah. And the reason why I'm excited about this is because I recently escaped corporate America.
Wow.
Well, no, I'm still in corporate America, but I I escaped the situation that was my previous employer, um, and I'm currently living my best life. I think. In a new environment, and I really think that a lot of people are looking for that next thing, so be on the lookout for the course. What did we settle on? How to escape
How to
your
escape
your corporate escape
your
plan.
corporate escape plan?
Your
Yes.
corporate escape plan.
Wow.
So important, right? Because we're talking about entrepreneurialism. We're talking about business. The leading things in this business realm. Um, and setting yourself up to be your own business person, leader, motivator, whatever.
Your own boss. All right.
Your own boss, right?
Yeah.
So, it's that same, we're going to be applying that same process, that same methodology across, how do we actually get out from under this corporate mindset to being more uh, depend independent
Yeah.
on our own skill set, on our own business, and building ourselves up in that way. So be on the lookout for that. We're working on that. And like I said, I just recently made the switch, made the transition, and it's drastically improved my life.
Wow.
I get to play video games at work. It's great.
Oh, wow.
So
All
it's
right.
pretty
So,
cool.
guys, details of, Monifa's story of how she transitioned, will be in the course as well. Just to show that, even people like us who are young can still do something like this. And I mean, escaping the corporate world, it's not only about being totally independent because not everyone can do that. But the point is
Right.
putting more power into your hand. Because
Yes.
just one thing, if you only have one source of income, a salary from a job, and they say, you know what, we're gonna have to cut because the economy is bad.
Yes, which is what
Then,
happened in COVID, right? All
right.
throughout 2020. So, yeah.
So you're gonna be sitting down, you have to start over all over again, looking for
Mm,
jobs and stuff. At least have something else that went okay. Meanwhile, looking for, another job, I have this on the side to continue doing. And who knows, maybe you fall in love with this side hustle so much. You say, you know what, I'm gonna just let this be the main thing. So who knows what will happen? The point is, we want to
Yes.
give you advice on how to have more power in your hands. All right.
Yes.
So look out for the course, guys. We're developing it slowly but surely. We're gonna get there. All right.
We'll get there. Yeah. And that's the entrepreneur's Phil. But thank you guys for joining us on this episode. Be on the lookout for the next episode where I don't know what the topic is yet, but you will find out. So just stay tuned, give this video lots of love, and share it with your friends because we all need to prioritize in this day and age. So,
All right. Awesome stuff. And of course, keep the conversation going. I mean, what have you done recently to prioritize your business vision and your
mhm.
business? Leave it in the comments below. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. This is Matthew Farkas in the Business Motivator and
Mo Maitland, the business leader.
business analyst, right?
Yes, business analyst. Yes, yes, that too.
All right. And this has been another episode of the Move for Your Mondays podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. And, we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye, guys.
Peace
Thanks.
out.